Okay, I think we're good. All right, so the College of Business Alumni Association and the College of Business, we want to welcome Walt Hinchman, uh, College of Business alumni and CEO of Swolverine. Welcome, Walt.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Tom.
Yep, we want to bring in, we kind of want to discuss what we've been doing. We had a guest speaker the last couple months come in and talk to our board, talk to our members, because we record this, put this on our social media sites, put this on our mbcoba.com site. Kind of get your input on how your business is running. I mean, you're a College of Business alumni. I think you have the world record of grad school completion. From what I remember, you did it in 1 year. And just see how your business is going. I saw your company logo on a long lease, so how how the community is going, and if you have any COVID struggles you guys are dealing with that you can pass on to our members. So
Yeah.
the floor is yours. Take it off.
Yeah. So, well, just to start, so Tom and I graduated in 2011, quite a while ago. So a lot of things have happened since then, but we started Swolverine back in 2018. We're an endurance athlete and active lifestyle brand. We have over 20 different products that we sell, ranging from like collagen, krill oil, like your daily multivitamins, to whey isolate, all kinds of different things. So if you're in the fitness space or into working out, you probably know some of those different supplements that I'm talking about. We also do training programs. We have nutrition coaches that run one-on-one personalized nutrition coaching. So it's a very different type of business structure than a typical sports nutrition company who just sells, a protein, a pre-workout, and an amino acid. So we have a very, very well-rounded offering to kind of take care of a consumer from the start of their journey all the way to the end of their journey. And in the last year, we've partnered with several big retailers such as bodybuilding.com, GNC. We're in talks right now with Vitamin Shop, a lot of different things going on in that realm. So the B2B side of things have not really slowed down a whole lot since COVID hit back in, March, April. The one thing that we've seen, especially though, which has really hurt us, probably set us back at least like 36 months in sales and revenue, has been the B2B channel with wholesalers. So specifically with gyms or people who have brick and mortars, small supplement shops, small nutrition stores, those kind of guys, like your local mom and pop stores. They have been struggling a lot, especially in the states that have more restrictions, such as California, Washington. Those types of areas have seen a huge hit. But besides that, things haven't really slowed down for us. We're very focused on the e-com side of things, digital marketing, content marketing, social media. So for us, we've seen a steady 30 to 40% growth year over year. But it has been set back quite a bit since COVID hit. That being said, we relocated our company this is a funny story actually, we started off of Center Street where there was a row of houses right next to Jimmy John's. So we ordered our first product, started the company 2016 under a different name called Elevate Nutrition, and got our first products in one of those old Victorian houses that is no longer there. So started from there, built it up the last few years, had to rebrand in 2018. We moved the company to Washington and then recently relocated back in June, opened up a storefront here off the Longley, like Tom had mentioned. And it's not really open to the public per se. We haven't really, pushed that side of things just because of all the restrictions that are happening. But it is more of like a showroom. You can come in, you can buy things, you can see the apparel, pick up your orders if you order it online. So a lot of different things, happening in that regard. But since we've relocated, it's been really great coming back and seeing the community kind of flock and just, having the support of everybody back in Reno, especially from, being in grad school here and going undergrad here. It's been pretty amazing. So a lot of cool things have been taking place.
Are you manufacturing everything here in town?
No, so we work with several different manufacturers throughout the United States. Everything is made in the US. Nothing we do is sourced out of, from any other country. So that's our biggest differentiator. So if anyone, on the call, wants to chime in or ask any questions in regards to supplements or anything like that, please feel free and interrupt me. But our biggest differentiator is that most pre-workouts, most post-workout supplements, especially if you work out, you'll find what's called a proprietary blend on most of those products. So Proprietary blend essentially has a list of different ingredients, and they don't tell you exactly how much of each one of those ingredients is in the product. So you don't really know what you're getting. And a lot of times what they do is that those manufacturers will underdose those proven ingredients, which will help your performance. So they can claim that, hey, this product has beta alanine, this product has citrulline malate, these different amino acids that are proven to have ergogenic benefits, but they'll only give you a very small dose, so it doesn't really have any type of effect at all. When we first started the company, that was the main problem that we saw in the industry and what we wanted to address and how we differentiated everything we do. So we take those proven ingredients you find in a post-workout or in a pre-workout supplement, and we put them in individual products so that you can mix and match based upon what your goals may be. So you get a very high dose of each one of these products so that you can improve your strength, your endurance, your recovery, whatever it may be that you're looking to improve in the gym, or if you have a different training modality that you're using, such as CrossFit, you're a triathlete, whatever it is, so that you improve those performance outcomes. So that's really how we differentiate, and that's really what these different retailers in the space saw that we were doing, which was very different than what anyone else was offering. So I guess that's a long-winded answer to your question, but yeah, we manufacture everything in the United States, not here locally, but throughout the US.
Okay, perfect. I mean, I'm glad that Zach, you made it on the call today, because I know being part of the football team, is there any desire of working with the university for you, Walt, on providing your products to the university, or has that been in talks or in the forefront?
We could definitely do that if that was something that they would be interested in pursuing. The problem with that is that since a lot of supplements are not FDA regulated per se, so it's for the NCAA, that's a pretty hard barrier to entry, especially for athletes that may be on scholarship, things like that. They can't really take endorsement deals, as you probably know. And so we could work with them in different capacities, but what that capacity may be, I'm not really sure of. So, but we'd absolutely be interested in doing so.
Okay. Yeah. Like I don't know it. Okay.
Yeah, let me know if there's anything I can do to help you, Walt. I'm more fascinated though, just by like, how did you get into a journey that led you into this vertical? Like, do you have a background in this space? Like how and where, and how the heck did you get to this role?
Yeah, it's a great question. So when I graduated from the MBA program, it was really hard for me to find a job. It was 2011. There was nothing out there. I was bartending and, working as a trainer. And the thing that I really noticed though, is that, so we had to actually sell supplements as part of our training job. And a lot of the supplements there, they were awful, that honestly really hard to choke down. The flavors were bad. They never worked. So my whole thing was, I can do this better than anybody else. I think, it's not going to be that hard. And so from there, I got a job with a manufacturing company here in town, and I was their marketing director. And from there, over the last, the course of the next 2 years, I really learned a lot about e-com, digital marketing, content, social media, and was basically self-taught in that regard. So I really picked up everything I know about marketing from that job. And then I went off and tried to start a few companies of my own. Didn't work out, right? Because you're never going to get success unless you fail a few times. So definitely had a lot of failures and learned from those mistakes, went back, redeveloped things, and then took a turn though, got into the medical device industry. And the big thing about medical device though, is that everything is evidence-based, right? You can't go sell a device unless you have human clinical trials and you have the FDA backing it. And so when that happened, it's such a good angle for the supplement industry that I was like, we need to take this and apply it to products. We need to take it and apply it to what you're actually putting in your body. So I had a group of friends at the time who were like, hey, you're really good at marketing. You're really good at digital e-com. Why aren't you doing this? You're wasting your time. And I was like, all right, I'll start it. So it went from there, and I met a few people, and, we started with a few off the shelf products, which, we really bootstrap things. Like I said, we started out of the bottom of our apartment over off Center Street by Jimmy John's. And we ordered, multivitamin and probiotics, started with that, and then just grew and developed it into something over time. And I only recently quit my full-time job back in July. So it's been a long journey for sure, but it's definitely been fun. And, that's kind of like where it all started. And it's just growing, man. It's been pretty cool.
Great story.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome kind of bootstrapping story right there, because a lot of people just give up after one or two shots, but it seems like you stuck with it. So good for you. Um, I just kind of have a question, and you sort of led into what my question was. With COVID been the way it has been, and I've kind of researched and heard some articles about this, there's sort of a paradigm shift that's happening in fitness, in that like fitness is transitioning from out of the gym to at home. And you had kind of touched on how trainers and coaches and things like that are sort of a big, they kind of catapult the supplements industry by pushing those on their clients. And so I'm kind of wondering how that's impacted your business, and if you've done that kind of gap analysis to assess, okay, well, if we don't have suddenly this huge clientele of gym or fitness instructors and things like that pushing our products because they're no longer going to gyms and having that relationship, how are we going to fill that gap?
That's a really good question. There's a lot of different strategies that we throw around each week about what we're going to do about the drop off in that, B2B channel, and how we're going to fill that gap, like you're saying. And you're right. A lot of gyms have shut down. There's been a huge shift towards opening your own garage gyms, getting your own equipment, building everything out at your home. And part of that is for us was, okay, well, how do we capitalize on that? What are we going to do? How are we going to fill that gap, like you're saying? And so we created a program, which is we call it the Swole Collective program. If anyone's familiar with Lululemon, they have a program that's very similar. It's called the Sweat Collective. And so basically what we do is that we reach out to personal trainers, head coaches, people who may be, fitness influencers, anyone who's a healthcare provider, and basically give them a kickback on any referral that they, that they give off to any of their clients or their patients, members, things like that, so that they can continue driving some revenue and making for us and creating revenue for themselves. So that's been a really good way to see some supplemental income come through once that B2B channel dropped off a little bit. I will have to say, though, that things in the last 4 or 5 months have picked up dramatically. So when COVID hit back in March, there was a huge drop. We actually had 2 people who were working for us in sales, one in inside sales, one as a direct sales account manager who was going after different CrossFit gyms, MMA gyms, whatever it may be. And ultimately we had to furlough them, and a means to an end had to lay them off. And when that happened, that channel took it was at least 100 to 200% dip. It was huge. And so when that happened, we really didn't know how we were going to fill that gap. We didn't really know what we were going to do. And so part of that was this Swole Collective program, where it's like, hey, we're going to give you 20% back. For the gyms, we'll give you 30% back on any referrals, so that you can still drive your sales, still trying to get that supplemental income back in the gym, and help each other out, have a mutually exclusive or mutually beneficial partnership. And that's actually worked really well. A lot of the gyms have come back, and that sales channel has really been building like I said, over the last 3 or 4 months. And I think that it's going to continue growing. There's always going to be a need for gyms and, different group training environments. That's just, a lot of people thrive off that environment. So I don't see that going away anytime soon. But there are also a lot of people who, don't really need that, and they don't want to pay $125 a month to go to a gym and work out. They want to just get their own equipment, work out at home. But like I said, there's always going to be a need for that. And so I do see it bouncing back. It will bounce back relatively soon.
Do you see gyms opening as of today and going forward as things kind of slow down? Or
I think it really depends on, state by state, and what those policies are, and, what the actions are going to be moving forward for their COVID restrictions. It just depends on that. A lot of our specific wholesalers have, like I said, have bounced back and are ordering again, and kind of, that business line has been coming back pretty strong, especially in Washington and Oregon, which is where we started really. And it's definitely showing a healthy trend. So I do see them coming back. I do see gyms, constantly kind of reopening here and there. And I don't think it's going to really slow down after that.
Why Washington, Oregon? Is that just by nature of that's where the products kind of took off originally, or is there a reason that's kind of has been a sales hub for you?
So for us, we're very endurance based. And so endurance is, goes hand in hand with CrossFit. Right? And everyone on this call knows you don't really get to choose your market. Once you go out, you start a business, you're an entrepreneur, whoever's going to come to you and that's your market, great. You know what I mean? You don't really get to choose that for yourself. And so CrossFit was they chose us. And so when we were trying to establish, okay, where are we going to go? How are we going to set the business up? Where's going to be the best place geographically to do this? You can look at a map and say, all right, there's 10 CrossFit gyms in Reno. There's 250 in Seattle. So just the area alone in the PNW Pacific Northwest, there's so much more opportunity there to drive a B2B direct channel that it would have been stupid not to go up there. California is another huge opportunity for us, but Washington was just a huge hub for the CrossFit space, especially.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking you were going to say. And yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
No problem.
I'm genuinely curious because I'm fitness. I've been trying to explore. I think we all do, right? It's February, so we've all been on track for at least a month and 11 days. But what I was going to say is that, like, I'm on your website and I obviously see, you do plant-based, you do all different types. Are you seeing an increase? I feel like everywhere I go now, I see plant-based options. Have you seen an uptick in those in that market? Just curious.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So they actually had a recent survey that showed that around 70% of people now prefer plant-based options or any type of plant-based food option. And so obviously there's a market demand for plant-based alternatives. Now, I don't think a lot of people know exactly what that means. So to go completely 100% plant-based is a very difficult thing to do. And so it's a great idea. It's for some people, it's a lifestyle change. And if they can maintain that lifestyle change, then that's amazing. That's awesome if they want to do that. There has been a huge interest in plant-based alternatives. We have seen a small uptick in it, not a huge one, just because of that exact same reason. It's like, if you're not going to be plant-based, there's really no reason to buy a plant-based protein. There are subtle differences between the two, such as like micronutrients, delivery system, and things like that. Plant-based alternative for protein is going to be a little chalkier in nature due to the cellulose that the plants are based in. But yes, our retailers such as bodybuilding.com and the big players in the industry in GNC, Vitamin Shop, those guys are seeing a huge market for that. So for us, we're probably not the best sample size for plant-based alternatives, but for the guys who really do see a lot of differing trends and can forecast that, they are 100% focused on plant-based stuff.
I'll just throw out there, your logo behind you really makes me think you guys were like all plant-based, but green.
Yeah, one of our buddies made this for us. It's a living wall. It's pretty cool. So it's just,
I like
the aesthetic.
Sorry, another question, because I'm probably hogging the questions, but I'm kind of curious if you could elaborate a little bit more on what you said was data-driven supplements, and are you guys like then looking for manufacturers who have done trials and such, or are you looking for supplements that have gone through FDA approval or something like that? I don't know if there are supplements that have gone. I'm curious what the data-driven component is there.
So everything we do, we base upon clinical studies, right? So the doses that we use, the products that we manufacture and we release for commercial consumer availability have been proven time and time again through different clinical studies. And that doesn't mean necessarily that manufacturer or that specific ingredient or whoever's manufacturing it for us has done that clinical study. It could be done by usually it's done by numerous different institutions, different universities, whatever it may be. And so the problem though is that the FDA cannot approve supplements because they are regulated as a food product. And so if they were not regulated as a food product, they would have to go through human clinical trials. They'd have to go through different phases of FDA approval. If they were ever FDA approved, they would no longer be available as used for a dietary supplement, but they would now be considered and classified as a pharmaceutical drug. And so that's the reason why it's not regulated that way. They do have FDA guidelines that every single manufacturer in the industry has to abide by. That being said, though, there are people who, are not certified under FDA rules and regulations. And so you do really have to research supplements before you buy them. And so you need to make sure that they are CGMP certified, they go through third-party testing, things like that, just to make sure that what they're telling you is really actually what they're putting in their products and they're being 100% transparent. So the clinical studies, like I said, that we find, you can just Google PubMed or go on Google Scholar, right, and find numerous clinical studies buying creatine or beta-alanine, all these different ingredients. And then it's kind of up to you to vet out which one of those RCTs or controlled trials are accurately depicted and have no bias in them. So then there's no
add on to that. Do you guys have like a chief science officer or someone who is responsible for reviewing those and ensuring the authenticity and accuracy of the studies? Because there's always going to be conflicting studies. I'm curious what that looks like on your team.
Right now, we do not. That would be nice if we did, right? That would also cost us more money, which we don't have at the moment. But we do have a QA/QC, right, that we use through bodybuilding.com, which does go through all of our different products and goes through specific label criteria, specific product criteria, and does do things like that. But there are no there's really no one going through those different studies and validating, which studies are going to be used the best, or anything like that. We really do look, what we try to look at is how many studies are there, right? How many studies specifically back a certain ingredient? And out of those studies, which ones are showing positive outcomes, which ones are showing, positive and negative outcomes, and then kind of weighing it that way and finding out what the dose is that they're using in these clinical studies, so that where they actually show an ergogenic benefit. So that's what the three variables we're really looking out for. A couple of the products that we use, one in particular, which is called beta-alanine, has NDI status, which is GRAS, right? Generally recognized as safe. It's the only product out there that has more than 70 clinical, trials done behind it, and it's a patented ingredient. So there are certain ingredients, products like that, but no, we do not have an actual, chief science officer that analyzes that QA/QC process.
Well, quick question. I'm on your website right now, and I don't take really a whole lot of supplements. I've been working out for like a month and a half this year as well. You got so many stuff on there. What do you like? There's so much stuff on here. What do you use, and like some of the supplements that you use?
Yeah, good question. So if you haven't ever used any supplements, you're a beginner, and it really depends on what your goals are. And I always like to ask people, like, when they start, what your diet's like, what your nutrition's like, because I don't typically recommend supplements for people unless they really have a good nutrition regimen and a good training program. So for us, we are definitely not somebody's first choice when it comes to supplements, but we will be your last choice. And what that means is that it's for a very educated type of consumer base, right? Because we're doing things that are dosed so much higher, and really focus on performance. But if you're just getting in the gym and you're like, hey, I really want to increase my strength, or I want to increase my endurance capacity, build more muscle, what I specifically take is a stack of different products. So it would be the crealkaline, beta-alanine, citrulline malate, and there's one more, the BCAA. So those three I take all together, and it really only comes out to 4 different ingredients. So you have 4 super high dose ingredients that you use 20 minutes before you go into the gym. And that's really going to help you with more oxygen, more blood flow, better recovery, better endurance, more workout volume. So that's what I would recommend to start out with. In terms of like daily vitamins, though, that's something that you would want to definitely get a blood panel done before you would even start taking anything, and find out what you're deficient in. If you're deficient in B, or if you're deficient in vitamin D, things like that.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, do you have any products in store here locally in Reno other than your storefront, or is it primarily online? And do you see a trend of, I know GNC is kind of closing their doors, with their storefronts. Are you seeing these starting to open up, or is it mostly just online business?
I think GNC in particular is going to take a massive hit. They already have over the last several years, especially because their business structure and model has always been opening GNCs in mall locations, which now is probably not the best idea. And so they're turning more to an online only type of vendor. And so they have really adjusted for that. And I think that they'll survive doing that. So everything I believe will be shifting towards online, like we've seen the last several years of several other businesses doing the same thing. But we don't sell our products specifically in any other location in town. There's a couple of gyms that retail it. There's just like a few healthcare providers that have it on their shelves, like physical therapists, massage therapists, chiropractors, things of that nature in those modalities, but nothing, in terms of like a NutriShop or vitamin shop. We don't sell in any of those places.
All right, we're at the 1 o'clock hour. Well, it's been, oh my God, almost 10 years since we talked basically, but I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story about your company. I think it's amazing what you've done. And best of luck. We'll definitely be in touch more in the future. So thank you so much for coming on and talking to us and our members.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, thank you guys so much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Walt. Appreciate the info.
Yep.
All right, guys, we will chat next month. Thank you.